Okay, it looks like we're back. Okay, Mayor.
Okay, I think we need to move to come back to the end of the session.
I believe
Yes, Mayor, following consult with council concerning potential terms for the license agreement, I understand that one of the trustees may wish to make a motion authorizing you to execute an amendment to the predecessor license agreement with Auto Expo Ent Inc. for the property at 265 East Shore Road. And that amendment would cover the period beginning July 1st of 2020. It would amend the prior terms to provide for a license fee of $9,000 for the month of July and for $5,500 per month for each of 9 months thereafter. It would provide for a 30-day termination clause for the village and a 60-day termination clause for the licensee. And that agreement would continue the other terms of the predecessor agreement. And that agreement you would be authorized to sign would be subject to our office's approval as to form. Is there a motion to that effect?
I move, Norman.
Moved by trustee Namdar, seconded by
Stephen.
trustee Hope. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, it's unanimous.
The next item, is-
Mayor, the next item on the agenda anticipates that you may be wishing to make a reappointment of the associate judge for a successor one-year term. Is that the case, Mayor?
Yes.
So then you would simply announce your appointment, and then a resolution would be requested from the trustees ratifying that appointment. Are you announcing that appointment at this time?
Yeah, I am announcing the appointment of the assistant judge to another term, to another year.
All right, is there a motion to ratify that appointment that resolved pursuant to New York State Village Law, Articles 3 and 4, the mayor's appointment of Rhonda Mayer as associate judge of the village court for a term of 1 year is hereby ratified and confirmed in all respects. Is there a
I
motion?
move, Norman.
Moved, so moved.
Moved by trustee Namdar, seconded by the deputy mayor. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, is there any abstention? Unanimous.
I believe we have lost, Mayor's there. I'm sorry. Never mind.
I'm sorry, who did we lose?
You're all here.
Mayor, I believe the next item on the agenda is a revised pool application at 8 Ravine Road. I understand that Brian will be speaking to that issue.
Yeah, Abraham, can you pull it up? And I believe the applicant is here also.
Yes, hi, good evening.
Hi, Erica. Stephen couldn't be here for the meeting tonight. Do you want to discuss the changes that you've made to your to the plan for 8 Ravine Road?
Okay, I will do that. The plan though that you have in front of you is not the correct plan.
That's the original that was approved.
Okay, that's the original that was approved, right? And then we added to the south of the pool, 10 feet of deck area right there, right? Do you have that plan?
Abraham, there should be another plan on there.
Basically, we decided we want to wrap around on the 3 sides. And we also changed the configuration of the steps to go down to be a little bit more symmetrical on both sides and a little bit more. Hello?
Yeah.
I can hear you, but I
ahead.
don't have that plan.
Okay.
No,
So let's wait to get them. If not, we can bring them onto our screen.
Yeah,
If you'll send it to me, I can, or if you have it, you could share your screen if you would like.
How do I send it to you?
You could email it to me so I can pull it up, or you could share your screen.
Okay, I can email it to you. Just give me your email.
It's ACOHAN
ACOHAM.
A-N.
and as Nancy at greatneckvillage.org.
Sorry, if I knew how to screen share it, I would.
On the bottom of your screen, there should be a button, a green button that says share screen. If you touch, move your mouse on it.
You can't share it because you don't have it.
Oh.
You don't have it on your screen.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna send it to you and then we can also put the camera if you don't get it, but you should get it. ACOHAN at greatneckvillage.org.
Watch.
Okay, went. You should have it.
You should have it, Abraham.
I'm waiting for it to come through.
So last month we were approved for the deck on the north side and on the west side. And now we decided to add another piece of deck on the south side. We didn't want to walk onto grass and felt that there will be more balance. So we have to come in front of you because that pool is 21 feet away from the property line. The deck will be now 10 feet away from the property line.
And is the deck raised or the deck is flat against?
So it's a funny situation because we are on a slope. So the deck in the back is on grade, in the front, it's raised. Because we are on a
mean
very
the
steep
south
slope. If
side.
you remember, in the back of the pool, there is a 6-foot tall retaining wall that belongs to our neighbor, and we added another small 6-foot retaining wall, so it won't be so massive. So
So my question is that the 10 feet that you're adding is going to be on grade.
on grade on one side, but as you
It's a
see, I have
patio, not a
steps.
deck, really. It's a patio, not a deck, right?
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm just going to put up also the original map and then the original plans on this one. Just give me one moment. This is the original.
This is the original, right? And this is the new. So I kept the original deck in dark and I put the new deck in slightly lighter. You can go to the new one, it's very clear. You see that area that's hatched? That's the area that needs your approval for being into the side yard, into the rear yard. It's our rear yard.
Well, wouldn't you need also for the side yard also? Or that's the side that's on grade?
Well, it's really the whole yard. We are on the rear yard. The whole pool and the decks, everything is rear yard. You're saying, yeah, on the
On
side.
the west
it is
side,
6 foot
on the
one,
west
yeah.
side. Yeah.
We're continuing, yeah, on the west side, we're continuing the line of the deck straight. So yes,
I don't know, but that's okay as far as the impervious material that you're using
Yeah.
and all
yeah,
that.
we are at if you look at A1, and you look at my calculations all the way on the top for impervious, yeah, go up to the left. A little bit, yeah, right there, you're right in the middle. We are at 34.5% where we are allowed 40%.
Okay.
You're allowed, the coverage is of the plot or of the rear yard coverage? Oh, okay.
The coverage of the rear yard coverage.
Right. Mayor, the code provides for a series of things that the board is to consider under code 575-153, but it goes on to specify 3 specific requirements: that the pool and its appurtenance and accessories must be entirely in the rear yard, Secondly, that it shall not occupy more than 25% of the rear yard. And third, that no part of the pool, its deck, or appurtenances shall be located less than 20 feet from any lot line of the premises or 40 feet from any residential building on an adjoining lot. However, the code provision ends with the statement that the board may waive any of the conditions set forth if in its discretion to do so would not have a significant adverse impact on the health, safety, or welfare of the community or the adjacent properties. So there are 3 specific mandates which are waivable by the Board of Trustees, but the board should be aware of them. And that is 100% in the rear yard, not more than 25% of the rear yard, and not less than 20 feet away from any lot line or 40 feet from any residential building. Each of which is waivable.
So I don't know what is that, which part of this plan is not within the code. I mean, there are 20 feet or so from the pool, at least, from the border.
Not from the deck.
Well, it's
Right.
not a deck, it's a patio. It's not raised, and I believe that if it's less than 5 inches, it's considered part of the ground. And I don't know if you can consider that part of the pool. I don't know if, and your adjacent neighbor, the one on the south side, are they higher or lower than you are?
They're higher. All our neighbors are higher.
All your
All our-
neighbors are higher.
Yeah.
So the one that is on the side of the pool, their property is actually higher than yours, correct?
That's why you see the retaining wall there.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to really have any impact on that neighbor.
Not
And,
at all.
you know, from what I've seen, you can't even see the pool from the street.
Not at all.
Have the neighbors been informed?
The neighbor know about it. The neighbor are very happy about it. And we do not have any issues with that.
So there are no neighbors here tonight?
No.
Can I just ask you for a static of it? The pool, what are you doing? I know that that's the shape of the pool that you want to put in. It's semi in-ground, you would call it?
No, it's all above ground. The pool is all above ground, but the back of the pool is digging into the hill. So what happened is the front of the pool is flat with a grade, with it's 2.5 feet. The back of the pool is right on grade. So that's why you have a little slope in there. You
Right.
see the back, yeah.
Okay, and what do you do for the front of the pool to cover? I mean, so you're saying that there's a step going up to the pool, or you're actually putting the patio on the north side to be at
There
the
is,
level?
you're right. The patio now is surrounding the whole pool. The whole pool is surrounded with a patio.
But-
So that's why, you know, in the front, I have the stairs. If you're looking at the front, I have the stairs on the diagonal. You have to go down with 6 steps to the front. In the back, I had to build the walls to retain because the dirt actually was higher. I had to flatten it and retain the dirt because the dirt was even a little bit higher. As you go toward the house, we totally flat.
Okay, all right.
We really, the neighbors are not at all affected. As a matter of fact, they are 6 feet up above us. They have to really come all the way to the property to really see what's happening there. They're totally isolated in this area in here.
Anyone has any questions, concerns?
No questions here.
Steve, Annie, Bart?
I'm good.
I think as long as the neighbors have been informed and they don't have anything, you know, they don't have concerns, then I'm okay with it.
Thank you.
Thank
Is
you.
there a motion to approve the revised pool application for 8 Ravine Road?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by
I second.
Mayor, seconded by Mayor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Have a good
night.
night.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
The next item is an emergency refrigeration request from Marine Fishery located at 521 Middle Neck Road. Apparently their refrigerator broke and it will take about 2 to 8 weeks to get it fixed. Therefore, we are requesting to put a refrigeration unit outside on the parking lot. I will show, if you just give me just a moment, I will share with you what they have sent us. Brian, did they send us some sort of backup for the refrigeration?
They sent a picture of the unit, of the 8x10 and the 8x20 unit.
I'll send it to you right now again, Abraham.
You sent it to me before?
Yeah, Karen did.
That I have. I just wondering if there was some other.
No, it was embedded, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
embedded in the email.
All right, I'm going to share the email with you in just a moment.
And Abraham, you have the location because I spoke to Dennis today, and he said that he spoke to him about the location as well. So it's not going to interrupt the traffic or the parking spots.
I was not involved in getting this item on the agenda. This is what they C-Box, I believe that's what they are offering or they're requesting to put.
Yes.
Container that Everfresh uses and Bagel Hut uses.
Are they going to put this in a parking spot?
There's a right by Marine Fisheries, right by the back door. There's a hash mark that's there. That
Yeah.
park. So he
Yeah.
was gonna lay it kind of up close to the wall to give it a couple of feet away from the wall, so that he has egress to go in and out of the building.
Right.
Couldn't really impact the parking lot. If it does, it's just going to be the one parking stall there, but it shouldn't.
I got you. I know where it is. I got you.
The way Dennis laid it out, he had showed him to put some thought. So you see that little triangle hash? Yep. He was going to put it going long ways on that, so it didn't stick out into the parking lot. So it may a little bit of spot up there where that first spot is, but Marine Fisheries, they always park their van out there, so they could always park their van in front of it as well.
And how long is it going to be there for?
See where his van is now? He could always put his van over there. And he also has a dumpster right in those hash marks that stays on those hash marks now.
How long is it going to be there for?
2 months.
I think 2 months.
2 months.
And
It's, they asked for 2 months. I made it clear to them that it's gonna be absolutely no longer than 2 months.
don't forget that you're gonna have a lot of things happening in that parking lot, I assume, soon, because that building next to it, it was the one with the demolition.
Right. So I spoke to Dennis, and he said that he's going to consult them to place it in a way that is not going to obstruct the traffic for the demolition. So hopefully everything's going to go according to plan.
Yeah, I think where Dennis had told him to put it seems like a logical place.
Okay.
Is there a reason why they need it for 2 months?
Apparently, that's how long it takes for them to get the parts and fix the fridge that they have inside.
Really?
I think the unit was only, was like one of them quiet units, 69 decibels or something. It was the same that Bagel Hut uses and Everfresh uses.
It's 60 decibel. If we wanted them to get it smaller for whatever reason, actually it would be an 80 decibel. And so the thinking process was to get a smaller one, to get a larger one that has that is quieter, because
60 is much quieter than 80.
Yes, a lot,
Much.
a lot quieter. So, and I think that was the thinking process, and I think we all agreed that it's probably going to be the right thing to have a larger that is quieter.
Logical.
Any objections?
Nothing from me.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I move.
Second,
Trustee Namdar, who was the second?
Stephen.
Trustee Hope seconded the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Is there anybody here who lives near that, like their backyard is to the parking lot?
There's only, the only one that I would say is the one neighbor on, I won't say any names, but Berkshire.
Mhm. And there's no one from Berkshire here?
No.
I think there may be two houses, but it's quite far. I don't know if they're going to really hear it. And I think 60 decibel is the same decibel as, from what I understand, as an AC unit.
Yeah.
So, and we do have our AC units a lot closer to our neighbors than this is going to be to the neighbor, because they have to go through the entire parking lot and the fence and then to the other side. So I think we're okay.
And also, just quick comment that it's an emergency. That's the guy back up after not being in business.
Yeah, we cannot. Yeah, I mean, even if there's someone who has a question or a concern, I think it still would be that the right thing for the business at this time is for them to be able to have their refrigeration. Okay, so
the item has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous.
I believe we skipped over item B under the new business. So we're just going back to that one. It's the Michael Haberman and Associates 2021-2022 assessment agreement for $22,500. The agreement is identical to the last year, and the amount of proposal is the same as last year. There's a copy of the agreement. What basically they will be doing is they will look at the areas in the village and they will assess the properties in the village. They will look to see who took out any permits or there was new construction in the building, and accordingly assess the value.
all right. I mean, it's the same thing as before. Nothing has changed. I think they had the same amount even 2 years prior to this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the proposal from Michael Haberman and Associates?
I move.
Moved by trustee Namdar, seconded by
Stephen.
trustee Hope. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous.
Right.
Peter, I believe you had a question regarding the H2M architects, which is the next item on the agenda that you might want to further study it.
There is a proposal on the table from H2M. I did have a couple of questions about it. There are some new services being put into the hourly column rather than in the retainer column. And some new services have been added. There are also a couple of what I'm assuming to be typographical errors. I find several references to section C to C, but I can't find any such section in the document. So I just think it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I anticipate it would be available for the next board meeting. Or alternatively, you could authorize the agreement in substantially the same form as is before you, but there is some cleanup that is required.
I'd be okay with that.
Okay, so I guess we can put it on the agenda for next.
Yeah.
No, what he was saying, Mayor, is that we could approve it in essentially the
Subject
form
to?
that it's in, just subject to council cleaning up the language and
I don't know if
formatting.
that's they're going to agree to it though.
Well, I have really two concerns. One substantive, which is, is the village focused on the prices have changed slightly, but they have changed. Certain things are now hourly rated that were previously in the retainer document. So as long as from a business judgment point of view, the village is satisfied with those price changes, that's fine. The other one seems to me to be probably typographical, which is that there's a reference to a section that I can't find in the contract. So if from a business point of view, the board is satisfied with the contents of the agreement, then I would be satisfied with having you approve it, subject to correction of whatever this typographical error is.
I would actually like to see to make sure that they're not making a significant difference as far as the hourly rates. So maybe we should just table this until the next meeting.
I agree.
I agree.
That's fine. Yeah, I've recommended to Abraham that he request a strikeout boldface version of the changes from last year's agreement to this year's.
All right, thank you.
So this item will be just held over to the next board meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Very good,
Yes,
sir.
please.
We already discussed.
The next item on the agenda, I believe, is a discussion item. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Abraham?
Go ahead.
I think the next item is a discussion item regarding, well, let's see, the parking permit fees had been already done, I think, in connection with the parking regulations. But
Correct.
there's also a discussion regarding allowing local vendors to use what is referred to as Strathmore Park.
Right.
Allowing who to use it?
Some local businesses.
Use
For what?
Strathmore Park for what?
We
Apparently
need,
they're-
As it was
Yeah,
explained, yeah, Abraham, do you have this? Right,
So,
Abraham?
couple of businesses have approached the village asking if they can hold some of their classes, recreational classes, on the village property, given that they cannot do it in the enclosed area for the benefit of the community, as well as keeping with the social distancing. Maybe they can use village's property to conduct their recreational classes.
But it's not our park. Why is that up to us?
No, because this is our park.
It's our park.
Strathmore is right. Strathmore is a village park.
Okay.
You're talking about the Eco Park, but
The
Strathmore
Eco Park, right?
Strathmore Park itself is owned by Strathmore and run by
No, no,
Strathmore.
no. The Eco Park. There's a section of the Eco Park that I think
That is the
Louis
village.
can clean up. Right. Louis, you cleaned it up already?
I have not, Mayor. I apologize. I have not. I'm gonna get there this week.
Right. And I think there's an area that should be not swampy and dry enough. I think what they want to do is to have either martial arts or some kind of a dance or anything like that they could do.
Like CrossFit. You wanna
Cross-
kinda-
Sounds good.
So just in order to not only help the businesses, but also help the community to be able to have an outing and be able to use these services, I am okay if we send a message to all the local businesses and ask them for times that they would like to do, and then based on either a lottery or something like that, we can go ahead and allow them to use these services. Obviously, we have to take into account the number of the people that are coming at any time. We do not want to burden the community. I would like to send a message to the Strathmore board to see if they have any objection to this as well before we approve the use.
Do we know where they would park?
You might have to just relax, you might have to just relax the parking restrictions for whatever times they tell you that they would like to use it.
I think this is going to be mostly for kids, so I think it's going to be drop off. I don't know if there are going to be people parking there. Just want to make sure that whomever is going to use it to make sure there's not going to be noise that is disturbing the neighbors. And also I would definitely like to hear from the Strathmore board if they have any objection that is valid. Obviously we need to hear that as well.
And this is to start in September or when?
I think they want to start immediately, but the place is not ready anyway. So I think it's a good idea to meanwhile ask the neighbors, the board, I should say, and then send out, if they're okay with it, then send out a letter to the CrossFit and I think Krav Maga and maybe Confidence, and maybe there are other places that may want to use this. But again, they need to do it in a way that is not disturbing the community. Does the board have any
Mayor,
suggestions?
you may wish to consider whether.
Go ahead.
You may wish to consider whether you just want to make it available for retail vendors to use on some kind of rotating basis, or whether you want to license this out with insurance requirements and indemnifications, et cetera, make it more formal. Entirely up to the board, but what level of formality do you want to proceed if you do it at all?
I would get the advice of council if we can go ahead. Obviously, if it's not going to put the village at risk, I would try to be as lenient as possible without putting the village at risk. If there's any letters that they should sign or anything like that, that would be fine with me. But obviously the board, I would like for them to chime in. If it has to do with really collecting rent or lease, I don't think that by the time we start doing that, summer's over.
I understand completely, but.
I agree with the mayor.
Right, if this is the
What do you
equivalent of sidewalk dining, for example, or are you tending to have, more crowds there than would otherwise be there? The village, as the owner of the property, is going to certainly bear some responsibility if someone slips and falls, et cetera. But there's always, with increased use, there's always increased risk. And it's just a question of determining how far you want to go to balance, on the one hand, protecting the village, with, on the other hand, making this available to generate civic activity within the village.
Yeah, but
That's right.
how difficult would it be to get indemnification?
We could
to be
write up
named as a
a fairly short and sweet.
But when we would also
license
want to be
agreement, but
named
you're
on the
gonna have,
insurance,
I
right?
presume. Right, but the mayor is indicating that he sees this as some kind of rotating basis, that, one vendor at one time, another vendor at a different time. So I just didn't know
Okay.
how formal you wanted to make this.
Okay, but do we have to notify?
Mayor,
our
we can,
Peter,
unless you're voting on it this evening, we can have this discussion offline as well.
Okay,
The question
add
is,
to additionally short on their insurance policy, and that will
Yeah.
cover the village.
no, I asked that, but Louis, I think the answer to that was that this is gonna be on a rotating basis, so it's not gonna be, you know, maybe one weekend per business.
Well, I mean, listen, if they, first of all, what I would like to know if the Strathmore community is going to really object to it in a very strong manner, or obviously for a reasonable reason, I should say.
I don't think they would.
Right, if they're not objecting to it, and I don't think they want it on a weekend basis. I think they want it 2 or 3 days a week, for a couple hours at each time. The question is, can we do it in a way that if there are 2 or 3 different vendors who would like to use it, for them to be able to use it, obviously not at the same time, unless there's enough room for them to use it at the same time. And if there is a letter to indemnify the village, how difficult is it, as I think Bart asked, to ask them to get us a letter to indemnify us?
No, to be named as additional insured.
Or to be named as a, right.
Okay, and the other question I would have is, you know, Strathmore Park seems maybe to be pushing it a little bit as far as a facility lacking parking. Have they gone to the park district to ask something similar? And, you know, we have parks in the park district in our village. Have they gone that route also? Not that I would say no to Strathmore, but maybe they should be, you know, in other parks as well for accessibility and visibility.
Bart,
Right.
my understanding is that Parks didn't really want to get involved with something like that.
Yeah, so that concerns me too. Okay. All right.
The only thing is, I don't know if I would like to, if there's a way that we can vote on it to be determined, because if we decide to do it in a day or two, I would like to get it done and not really table it until 2 weeks from now, which really is going to be halfway in the summer.
Good point.
May I offer the option of the clerk's office being responsible for determining what days of the week and or hours would be made available, and that the clerk's office would issue a permit, which I will work with the clerk's office to prepare, which will authorize parties to utilize the premises, but under the understanding and with the agreement that they will indemnify the village for any liabilities that arise as a result of their use, and that the village will be named as an additional insured on insurance policy.
I think I'm
And
okay
I'll
with that.
have that ready in short.
Don't we only also want to find out from the Strathmore Association if they're on board with this?
Well, I'm going to ask Abraham to send them a letter to notify them and see if they have anything against it.
I mean, it is a public park, Mayor. I don't know if you want to do it. I mean, it's a public.
No, I just want to know if, listen, if they have a reasonable or a convincible reason that you're right, absolutely. It is a public park. It is the village's park, and I think we can use it as we see fit. The only thing is you have to make sure that the usage of that park is not going to significantly disturb the people who live in the area.
I agree with you.
My apologies, but I was advised that it was not a official park. It was simply open space, green area that was available, owned by the village, but not a dedicated parkland. And if it is in
No, it's
fact
a park.
specifically designated parkland, I'm so
No,
sorry.
dedicated park, Peter.
If it is a dedicated park, then only recreationally related activities can be authorized to act. In other words, you couldn't go in there and sell clothing. You could go in there and
Right.
perform instructional services or anything that is arguably.
No, this is going to be, right, it's going to be either martial arts or it's going to be, I believe, was it a kickboxing or?
Maybe yoga.
That would be
Right.
fine. That would be fine.
Right, so
That's
those are
fine,
the
yeah.
things, dance, yoga, kickboxing, or martial arts that's going to be used. We're not letting people to
Those
go
would
there
all
and
be-
sell clothing.
Right, those would be all permitted uses from what you described.
Okay.
Correct.
Any objections or any concerns?
I like the idea of letting him draw the thing up and letting Abraham look it over.
Right, and I think I would like for other vendors to also be given an opportunity to use the place, obviously.
Me also.
Understanding, understanding that the mayor will first be checking with Strathmore, is there a motion to authorize the mayor rather than direct the mayor to authorize the mayor to establish a program under which recreationally related vendor activities could be conducted at that park site with proper indemnification and insurance provided?
I
So
move
moved.
to authorize the mayor.
Second.
Moved by trustee Namdar, seconded by trustee Hope. Any further discussion?
I just
All
want to make a
those in
comment
favor?
that earlier, a couple of weeks ago, a resident from Strathmore contacted me to let me know that it seemed like there was a camp going on there. She said there were about 15 little kids in
That
that
is
park.
no, but that was Annie. I think they're talking about Strathmore Park, their park, not the Eco Park.
Aren't they right next to each other?
They are next to each other, but one of them is theirs that they're responsible to maintain, and one of them is ours. The Eco Park is our responsibility to maintain. Well, it's not supposed to be maintained, but it's our responsibility to. It's a village's park, and the other one is the Strathmore Park. That is for the resident of the Strathmore, and they have to address that issue. And if they want, they can get us involved, but they have not. The board, Strathmore board, has not gotten us involved. So
Is there a line that that divides where their park ends and where ours begins?
Louis can speak to that, but I think there is a line of trees that separates our park from their park.
Yes, it's our park is separate from theirs. There's some bushes there and some trees there that they can't cross over unless they go from the street from Pond to there.
Right. Also, I think it's almost impossible to hold a camp in the Eco Park. It's not a
Well,
playground.
but they're not definitely not in there now. The weeds are as tall as me.
Right. It's not going to happen.
They're
So
definitely
it's not going to be on that boardwalk type structure that they have.
well. There's some grass area around there as well, Annie. It's not just boardwalk. There are some flat areas of grass.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, I believe the motion is on the table, moved and seconded. Is all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous. Abraham, I believe the next item is a discussion regarding a so-called pocket park in parking lot number 4.
Correct. So you have a request from one of the businesses in the village, Pizza Rocks, that they submitted a sketch that they want to put tables out on a parking lot number 4. I'm going to share the screen with you. This is the place of the business, and they want to take over this 4 parking spots and put the tables out. The same lot, this is the entrance to the parking lot number 4. In the corner in the back here, there is a pocket park that can be used for the same purpose. So this is just opening a discussion to see what the board would like to decide regarding allowing businesses to put tables and chairs outside and using the public space for outdoor dining.
Temporarily, right?
I'm sorry?
Temporarily.
Temporarily, yes.
Well, Mayor and Board, we have John, who is from Pizza Rocks here, if you would like to add anything, John.
How are you? How's everyone?
Hello.
Thank you for having me. It would be temporary, and we're just trying to, with everything that's going on, of course, just boost up the business so we don't have to, unfortunately, close with everything that's going on. So any help that you guys can give would be greatly appreciated. So I'll take your guidance and what you're willing to give us.
So I know that we discussed this pocket park before
Yeah.
with Louis on the back side of, I think it's on southeast of parking lot 4. That area I think could be nicely utilized, and we possibly can use it as a pocket park. I don't know, Abraham, you have any sketch on that? That was,
Then find it. I know I wasn't given anything regarding the pocket park in the corner.
I could create the same kind of thing that I provided before with the 4 parking spots, where we'd have the metal bollards and the planters to cover that pocket park. The only issue we had there was, with the New York State Code, how many seats we could really have there. I thought it was a lot bigger, but when I went to the rear there, it's it could probably fit 4 tables if they're all 6 feet apart. I did give Brian a couple photos of the rear. I don't know if he has them there.
The most useful one, no, not the useful, but the most clear one that we have is this one. Just give me a moment.
Sure.
This is the most clear one that we have.
Yeah. Yes.
no, but do they have a sketch of what they would be able to put there?
Not right now.
The same thing we were gonna do with the 4 parking spots. We could do the same exact thing. It would just be in, cover the pocket park. So you'd have some kind of planters with the metal bollards there to protect anybody in case a car. And the other concern, of course, is how do the guests, I guess, come to that spot? It's not something I really want to be responsible for, but they could always come. We could always block it off completely from the parking lot, and they could only come from inside of the building. That's one option. I just don't know how comfortable people are yet with entering consistently and going all the way to the back and then to that pocket
You
park.
do have a back exit that goes to that backyard, so-called backyard that is connected to that part of pocket park.
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to know, maybe we should get an advice of counsel. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's not an easy thing to do. I just want to quickly get an advice of counsel.
Just a moment, Brian, if you could please stop it on the.
Yep.
And I'll start putting. We're going to